Yes, this is yet another episode of Mr. Nelson's Thursday Comics. I had all kind of stuff I had to deal with. Plus, got a little sick again. Sleep schedule all messed up and all that kind of thing. Some other stuff happened with some other shows I'm involved with. And, well, anyway. So I didn't get this done in time, and I wanted the video to be me drawing pictures. I'm leaning more towards doing more of that for videos overall, but it takes time and setup and all that thing, so can't promise that'll be the format of Nelson videos in the future. But anyway, only a handful of comics, really, but again, it took a while to get to them for a video. So we'll start off with the comic book series that has been, as far as superheroes go, the best title available. And for the most part, it still is. This was the conclusion to their Kingdom Come return and that sort of thing. I guess it is. It's orchestrated as a prequel to the Kingdom Come story. And all of that. And that's basically how it ends. It was mostly just kind of cool to see the characters again and the interaction and, and the reveal that David was to become Magog from the Kingdom Come story. But as it always is with these teases and stuff, they said, whoa, that's who that is, and then, boy, I hope the payoff is good. Usually the payoff isn't all that great. Sometimes they're awful. In this case, it's not awful. It's sort of okay. It kind of fizzles, at the end. And it's like, well, where do you go? Could have set it up, I suppose, suggesting that this was some other reality, or they altered things where it won't turn out the way it does in Kingdom Come. But no, the only thing about it is that in the Kingdom Come story, there's this obvious relationship of some sort between Superman and Magog. Mostly in that, Magog's the younger hero and Superman was, the past and all that sort of thing, as the narrative unraveled there. Whereas here, his main inspiration and father figure was another Superman, not the Superman of this universe. That's the Kingdom Come universe, So it kind of takes away from it a bit there. But, you can say, well, the events happened years later and all that. And he's already got this attitude at the end of the story that could put him in that position. So, it's fine for the most part. It's, nowhere near as bad as some other type of retcons, if you will, that just mess everything up. So it was all right. But it's still easily one of the best superhero titles available. Another one that's really good is the Jay Garrick Flash spinoff of Justice Society, and easily exceeds the quality of the Justice Society series itself. Surpasses it, exceeds, surpass, same thing. And I think it's true of the Sandman title as well. But anyway, this one, it's pretty basic and simple, but the art is good, and the flow of the story, and Jay Garrick worried about his daughter and the situation they have with the villain, who's, as far as his appearance goes, he's just kind of a Dr. Doom knockoff. But it's an interesting thing. Not so crazy about having this guy being the cause of Jay Garrick becoming the Flash and everything, but ultimately, I don't guess it really matters. So Dr. Midnight guest stars in it, and that's cool. And it's a good little romp. And when they're good and adequate and stuff, I don't have a lot to say about it. But I do recommend it as just a fun superhero title. And so far, 5 issues in, and not screwing up somewhere. So I'm sticking with it. So I do recommend it. Just out of the oddities of the Sandman title, I guess I like that one a little bit better. But the Jay Garrick Flash series is pretty solid, and I'm enjoying it a lot. And it's at times, I think, is on par with World's Finest. So, well, I think that's saying something. Don't you? Well, you should. Meanwhile, over at Marvel, well, the only thing I took a look at was Ultimate X-Men. I wasn't able to get a copy of Ultimate Black Panther, and the second issue is already out. I waited too long and can't get a hold of one. Heard high praise for it. Of course, Spider-Man doing well. So Ultimate X-Men is not a bad comic. It's actually rather nice. It's like, this is an X-Men comic. Very strange, very odd. And of course, the situation is the Ultimate Universe didn't unfold the way it originally did because of what the maker did. And there's a introduction that explains this, and just by chance you didn't read the intro series and all that. Even though there are other mutants and they're in power and stuff like that, it just didn't go that way. So it's a retelling, even more so than the original Ultimate Universe did with these characters. So of course, it's got the manga influence in it and all that stuff, and it looks like this is an insert character from the author herself, but but it's handled fine. It reminded me, because there's a surreal element to it, and plus the villain is, I'm guessing it appears to be the Shadow King, and of course that was the villain of the Legion TV series on FX, and of course surrealism ruled the day in that show, and this approach to it reminds me of that. Now, I took it to mean that this girl is a mutant, that this armor, it seems to be gifted to her, but I'm thinking it's more, that's more of her imagination, and this is a manifestation of her mutant abilities. Otherwise, hey, there's no X-Men in here at all. So there's no X-Men as of yet. So it's a really strange way of introducing this bizarre take on these characters. But I could see it being off-putting to, solid X-Men fans, which I never really was. I was more into Spider-Man and Fantastic Four and Avengers. But people who are very serious about it, I don't know. I don't know that they're going to like this. Even though I did, just for what it was. I don't see it as an X-Men comic, but then maybe it becomes that. I mean, the Legion series was fascinating and interesting, but again, it's like, well, is this really an X-Men show? I mean, Charles Xavier shows up in it, but still, is this really an X-Men? So, an oddball take on it. We'll see where it goes, but that's the problem. I think true X-Men, hardcore X-Men fans might not like this. Then again, could be wrong. A good chunk of them might, but others I think would find it off-putting and just, this isn't what I was looking for, and so in something else, maybe they would be fine with it. But so anyway, so I'll check out issue 2 and see where it's going, but it just kind of left not sure what to do about this. But in and of itself, I thought it was fine. Finally, the best title of all of this, once again, Conan the Barbarian from Titan Comics, continuing on basically in this story with Conan having been possessed by the spirits that are under the thrall of Thulsa Doom, and it continues with that. And it's wholesale slaughter, and he's being haunted by the memories of a lost love and that sort of thing. And it appears those are elements being used to keep him under control, but at the same time, they might also empower him to regain control and all that. So I enjoying Conan the Barbarian. I enjoyed the first arc story, primarily because the art was, akin to John Buscema's style. But the art's still fantastic in this book, and can't praise it enough, Meanwhile, also from Titan Comics, they've done their own version of Savage Sword of Conan. So a black and white magazine style approach to Conan, which was the main title that I collected in my misbegotten youth, more so than the comic book. I think I only had maybe one or two of those. And so it was mostly the black and white magazines of Savage Sword of Conan. And, and it was odd because they would just be like in grocery stores in the magazine section, and there's naked women in it and stuff. I guess they just didn't know what was in it. But anyway, the story is fine with Conan, but the art, which is, it's professional and everything, but it's so muddy looking in it. I think it would be much better to keep it just pen and ink on the paper. There looks to be some 3D modeling or what have you. There's some dinosaurs in here. It's a bit suspect, but it's a lot of rendering and shadows and whatnot and values put into it when it probably should be just the flat black ink for this format that you can use that way. It comes across much stronger in the black and white approach. Whereas it makes it all very, very muddy looking. And, in my opinion, it hurt the story. The actual narrative plot is fine. It's a typical, Conan the Barbarian, adventure. It's really good, and interesting with how it plays out. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like it. I guess on a higher quality of paper, it would look much better. But in keeping with that style, it's on a, I don't know if it's outright newsprint, but it kind of looks that way. It just doesn't come across presentation wise for the format. I would kind of rein in Photoshop rendering and whatnot on it, and just let the black ink reign supreme in that format. So the second story, which is a cliffhanger, damn it, was a little better art-wise approach, and it was interesting, but it's not Conan, it's Solomon Kane. So and it's a cool setup here where he has to deal with a monster hunting people and that sort of thing. Very classic Solomon Kane stuff. And so despite the flaws that I find as being flaws, still recommend it. And I love the idea of a Savage Sword of Conan magazine coming back. And of course, there'll be a variety of people working on these different stories. So we'll see what they do in later issues. So I'm sold on it. It's just, I think they kind of stumbled on that presentation there. It would be interesting just to see the line art bereft of all the rendering and whatnot, and probably would work pretty rather fine. So, but didn't happen that way, and I felt that was to its detriment. But overall, really good, and still one of the best titles that I got to see for this episode of Mr. Nelson's. Well, not Wednesday this time. Hopefully it'll be Wednesday next week, but this will have to do it for this episode of Mr. Nelson's Thursday Comics.